Hey, 1 second. Let me just get this up. So today is April. I think today's April 27th. It's a Tuesday, and I'm gonna be going over the three trades I took today. Two of them were on Baba. Both were good trades. One of them was on Facebook. Break even, bad trade. Not necessarily bad. Got a little bit lucky, but I'm just gonna go over all three now. Uh, if the setup looks a little bit different, it's because my old laptop broke and I'm using a backup laptop. So, yeah. And my voice is kind of not normal because I'm a little bit sick. So, yeah. But besides that, let's start off with Babo first. Yeah. Okay. So, as always, daily time frame. Yep. So, on the daily chart, Babo was in a clear downtrend. It's still a little bit choppy, but we finally broke through um, this downtrend line on a daily time frame. Doesn't mean we're immediately bullish. Just means that there's chance for upside momentum now. Um, but we could still chop around. We need more days to really determine what direction we're going to head. But we did break this downtrend line on a daily time frame. So let's start with a 5 minute time frame, as always. Okay, so uh, what did Baba do right off of the open? It broke this upper trend line, this daily resistance level, which is a huge level to get over. This daily trend line resistance. We broke through it. I didn't take this play too early in the morning. Still in supply. Yeah, I know supply was used, but I don't like to trade that early in the morning, especially in these market conditions, because it's a little bit tougher to trade these days. So you just have to adapt to it. But I mean, look what happened. First, roughly 25 minutes on NQ, first 5-10 minutes on ES, we dropped, and we dropped pretty heavy. 10, 12 points on ES, about 100 points on NQ, so that's a significant drop. But notice what Baba did. Baba actually did the opposite. It pushed up. Yes, it broke low a day, but it immediately got bought right back up while the futures were trading at their lows. Uh, we did have nice volume. Oh, I'll go over this volume spike later. But yeah, I mean, Baba's holding value compared to some of the other equities. See, just for example, I want to show why this is clearly relative strength. You see Microsoft today. Actually, let me pull up some of the other equities. Okay, yeah, Microsoft headed lower in the morning, a bit choppy. AMD was, oh, I gotta link this too, that's why. AMD was the other strong equity, which I didn't play. There was no setup. I can go over that later. Or was that Boeing? Okay, regardless. AMD push up, but immediately got bought back down. Uh, Same thing. Look, right off of the morning, Boeing dipped. It did rally, but it right into supply, so no play. Nvidia, nice move down. Tesla, immediate small move, but then move down ultimately lower. So you can see why Baba, at least in the morning, had relative strength, right? We moved up while a lot of the equities and mainly futures moved down. So going off of that, I didn't play the morning push, but where I did formulate a plan was so right off the morning we broke through 4 hour and 3 hour supply. You can see that. So right off of the bat, I can remove this supply. It's no longer valid. There are no sell imbalances placed in the supply zone. Um, we moved lower, and look at this volume spike. Uh, where's the 930 volume spike was 400. This one was like 680, 700. So almost 1.52 times the amount of volume. So there's definitely interest on BABA. Let me highlight that right here. Huge volume, especially if you compare it to 930. And volume is one of the main things I look for when I trade, right? Volume is basically everything to me. So when I saw that huge volume come in on BABA, I'm starting to think, okay, what's happening now? Next candle, not as much volume, but we immediately get bought right back up. 1010 candle, broke high day, no upper wick, nice volume. Why do I say this is nice volume? The 1010 candle, while it wasn't as much as this 10 candle, it was it was greater than the 930 candle. And usually what happens is a 930 volume candle is the highest all throughout the day. So for these two candles to be higher than the 930 volume candle, I know there's interest in BABA. Oh, where's our next supply zone? Next supply all the way up here. So we have room to run higher. Um, 1010 is right. Oh, was it right? Okay, yeah. Um, so I saw this huge volume push up on good volume, broke high day, no upper wick. What did ES do? ES tagged 2 hour supply perfectly and had a beautiful reaction. This wick itself was, I don't know, but it was definitely a lot of points. Probably like three or let me see, 4166. That's like a 6 point wick, right? From demand, so you know there's a strong passive buyer sitting right here. I know where is it? 1050. I know ES didn't really have demand lower. Oh, I need to remove this. I'm sorry. I know ES didn't, or yeah, NQ had demand lower. It didn't tag it exactly when NQ did, but nonetheless, ES bounced from demand. I wouldn't say we're selling off here. I think that's a lot of things, or it's a topic which I used to get confused about a lot. I know I'm not, I don't think I'm necessarily fighting the trend because yes, we did move lower in the beginning, but you have to keep in mind that a sell-off is like 200, 300 points on NQ, right? A sell-off is us ripping through 4 or 5 demand zones. But in this case, ES tagged one supply zone, which was 2 hour, bounced perfectly, and NQ broke through one supply zone. So yes, I know the market was moving lower, but ES did bounce off of demand. This was a very, very key point for me. And NQ, this was the wake to 1015. We started moving up. I know it didn't hit demand, but I wasn't really too worried about this. Ultimately, my main confirmation going into this trade were good volume. Already talked about that before. ES bouncing out of demand, that's 2. BABA showing relative strength. You can see it broke high day at 1010, while ES and NQ weren't even close to high day. 3 confirmations. Next, what I saw was this rally right here, nice rally candle, nice basing candle with the lower wick, right? Ultimately, you want to see basing candles have lower wicks to indicate buying pressure, and you don't want to have upper wicks on basing candles because that represents selling pressure. But nice basing candle here. So where I took it was right when we broke high day, basically. Didn't really want to anticipate too much. Got in as we broke high day, got the nice push up, wanted to see if we could hold 236. And then this is where my stop loss was. My stop loss wasn't a traditional stop loss. My stop loss was my target, first of all, as I talked about with 238. I was definitely going to scale one contract on the way up if it played out. But my stop loss was a failed 5 minute RBR. And to me, this is clearly a failed 5 minute RBR. Look at 1020. It has nice volume, not as much as 930, but nonetheless good volume. But it has an upper wick. So there are definitely sellers sitting at 236. So to me, this is a failed 5 minute RBR. I still gave this 1025 candle a chance. I wanted to see if we could hold value. But as soon as I saw decreasing volume now, you can clearly see that at this point, uh, we're starting to lose interest. One second. We're clearly decreasing in volume. Uh, this isn't what you want to see on a breakout. You don't want to see upper wicks. You don't want to see decreasing volume. So I eventually stopped out somewhere right here. Not as soon as this candle formed, but somewhere in this area. Took a didn't take a big loss at all. Lost 13 cents per contract. That's just because of good risk management. You know, if the trade worked out. I mean, I've seen Baba break out. I think I talked about it. It happened last Thursday, but you can go back in my trade recaps and see. But I mean, Baba had a move from maybe like a dollar, dollar and a half move, and the contracts moved the dollar, right? So for me to risk 13 cents with the possibility of making, you know, a dollar, $2 on average, I mean, I'm going to take this trade because not only did the market align with me, but we had 4 confirmations. That was trade one on Baba. Not disappointed at all. I think it was a good setup, which didn't work out. I really only focus on the highest quality trades. You have to keep in mind that I haven't traded for the last 3 days because I haven't seen anything set up in the last 3 days, right? Um, so this was the first real setup I saw in the last 3 days. So yes, I'm gonna take it. I don't care if it doesn't work out. It's a good setup in my opinion. Just have to move on. Lost 13 or 14. I have to go back and look, but it's either 13 or 14 cents, so not a big deal. Where I start to see interest in Baba again is 11:30. Okay, let me see. Somewhere right here. Okay, somewhere right here. Oh, wait, we're 11:40 actually. Okay, somewhere right here. Okay, so at this point you could see that uh, don't want to call the market in a clear downtrend or uptrend. We're choppy, but we're moving up now, right? Um, on top of that, what does Baba do again? It's approaching high day, so I'm thinking that okay, if we can break 236 where we found resistance before, we have a chance to squeeze higher. So break of not a key level, but an intraday level, 236 rejected here twice. So I'm thinking okay, break of 236. This is what catches my eye right here. This is increasing volume. This is increasing momentum. This is what I talk about in the Discord as well. This is exactly what I'm looking for. From 11:20 to 11:40, we are increasing in volume on each and every single candle. What does that mean? We're not closing with upper wicks either. A little bit, but not too much. So that's a good sign too. But we're increasing in volume on every single candle towards a intraday resistance level, 236. What does that mean? That means that buyers are willing to pay the higher price. More buyers are willing to step into the market and pay a higher price to move the stock higher. So what this means is increased momentum. This is what I'm looking for volume. So that was my first main confirmation. Second was a break of this 236 intraday key level 2. Baba still has relative strength. I mean, yeah, we did chop around a little bit, but we are approaching high day. While again, futures aren't even close to their respective high days. So clear relative strength in my opinion. That's 3 confirmations. And my fourth confirmation was a rally, base, rally. Yes, I know this basing candle is green, but basing candles don't always have to be red. That's what I want to stress. Let me when I'm looking for basing candles, what I'm really looking for is a period of consolidation before a move up. What that means is I don't want to chase a straight move up. For example, I don't want to buy right here because Baba moved from 232 to 236-ish without giving any periods of consolidation. This is a straight move up. I don't want to buy here because I'll get trapped. And if you did buy here and your stop loss was below 235, you would have got stopped out. But by consolidation, what I mean is I want to see buyers take a break and hold value, so consolidate. So what happened? This candle started to form. We immediately started to move lower, so a pullback. This lower wick is a pullback, but buyers bought us right back up on good volume, right? This basing candle has more volume than this rally candle, even if it's just by a little bit. So that's telling me buyers are interested. To highlight this more clearly, let me go to a 1-minute chart. I don't use a 1-minute chart when I trade. I only stick to 5-minute. But besides this one red candle here, Uh, on a 1 minute chart, you're gonna see more red candles, but besides this red candle right here, we move straight up from 11:22 to 11:34. Yeah, sorry about my cough, but yeah, we move straight up, one red candle, but this is a impulse move. What did we do from 11:34 to 11:38? I know on a 5 minute chart the candle was green, but ultimately we consolidated before moving higher again. As I talk about, oh, as I talk about, market will always move from consolidation or impulse to consolidation to impulse. I'm not going to chase the impulse move up. I'm going to wait for some period of consolidation. And I mean, oh, now I have to remove this, but I mean, nonetheless, actually, let me just remove it so it doesn't get confusing. But nonetheless, this trade worked out. I mean, we had a nice move here. I didn't get as big of a move as I wanted because I identified the setup right when this rally candle started to form. So I had to put a plan within a couple of seconds. I can do that because I'm more experienced and I've been trading for quite a bit now. But uh, I got filled a little bit late. I got filled maybe not at the mid, somewhere right here. Um, Market immediately moves up. I take off one contract, and you have to keep in mind that this is what I mean by risk management. I took one off at the top right here. Uh, Taking off one contract here um, outweighed my loser, which was on two contracts right here, right? So one contract was able to put me green on the day, and that was only one contract. If I had taken both my positions off, I would have been somewhat green on the day. But one contract was able to cover my two contracts of a losing trade right here. So that's what I mean by risk management. Uh, Here, I mean, I think my stop was below 236. We came down, didn't sell. We moved up, um, and at this point, look what happened to the volume. Let me just remove this. We decreased, right? When we break out, you want to see increased buying, you want to see increased momentum to carry us higher. Lower volume just means consolidation. And at this point, I felt like the only reason we were consolidating and not immediately crashing is because the market was moving somewhat higher. So, by relative strength, I want buyers to be interested in the equity themselves, and I don't want the stock to move higher um, just because the market is moving higher. I don't know if that makes sense, but ultimately, I really wanted to see relative strength, and here we are losing signs of relative strength because we're losing volume, we're losing momentum. Uh, in hindsight, I should have sold somewhere here, but I think I actually lost $1 or two, so pretty much break even on my second contract. Stopped out right here. So as always, I make my trades risk free when I'm nicely in profit. Took one off, wasn't a great winner because I got filled a little bit late, but made a decent amount on the first contract and then had to stop out for the second contract, which is fine. This was a very, very good trade in my opinion. I've seen this happen on Tesla before, where this candle happens and then we rally straight into supply, and trades like that can be like $7, $8 on Tesla, or maybe if it was on Baba, it would have been like $2 or $3. But I always want to take profits on the way up, always secure myself, just in case I have to stop out for break even on my second contract. That's why I like this way of risk to reward, because I can just I can just protect myself on the way up, and ultimately, if I know I'm up and I know the trade is risk free, it gives me confidence to hold through this period of consolidation. If I was in with my full position and I had not sold my first one here, I would be worried. I might have sold here due to emotions, knowing that I was up nicely here. But knowing that I I've secured this trade. I know it's a win regardless of what happens. I know this trade can never go red on me. I have confidence in holding through this period of consolidation because I know that the trade can never go red on me, and I know it's a winner basically. So it felt like I was rambling a bit, but I mean you get the point. And this is just a concept I want to talk about. Just support and resistance 101 right here. 236 was an intraday resistance level, right? 236. Acts as resistance twice here. Acts as resistance there. Comes up, breaks through this intraday resistance level, retests it as support, comes back up, retests it as support to the little penny. I mean, what was the low of this? 235.99. So it dipped 1 cent below 236. Market is never perfect. But this level 236 was an intraday resistance level, right? So this is just another example of how support and resistance works. But yeah, that was Baba. Took 2 trades on it. I am 100% willing to take these 2 setups if they form again, even though my winners and losses would have been break even. Because to me, this is a high quality trade, right? And these are the only types of trades I'm looking for. How long is this video? 21 minutes? Damn. Okay, I don't know how the video got this long, but I'm gonna review my last trade, which is on, was it Facebook? Yeah, it was on Facebook. All right, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. But there is a lot of good stuff to go over on Facebook. Need to talk to Dylan about this because I'm still a little bit confused. But let me mark. This was 30-minute supply. I don't know which screen. Mark as red or purple. So Facebook comes up in the morning, rejects 30-minute supply, comes back up, rejects 30-minute supply. So to me, this level is used. You know, it's a used 30-minute supply. So not only is it used, it's a lower time frame supply. So when Facebook starts rallying here, I'm not worried about the supply anymore, especially because we start basing now. Yes, I know we didn't break through it, but to me, it's used twice and it's 30 minutes, so not too worried about the supply zone. But what did Facebook do? So I was considering Facebook around 12:30ish. Okay, so 12:30ish was when ES was kind of consolidating right here. It was in this area. 12:30 is when NQ. You can ignore. Let me just remove this 45-minute demand so it doesn't get confusing. This demand is now invalid. We went below it. Just basic stuff. 12:30 is somewhere right here. Yeah, somewhere right here. Okay. So while ES and NQ were choppy, grinding up, Facebook had a nice push up. You can see that from 12:20 and 12:30, we started moving up on elevated volume. Look at this volume compared to volume down here, right? It's increased and it's during lunch hour, right? Usually during lunch hour, you see decreased volume. So to see us moving higher, approaching high day while the equities or while the futures aren't even near high day is interesting because to me, this is signs of relative strength. Two, Facebook had earnings. So to me, that's still another form of confirmation, you know, pre run up for earnings, pre hype, maybe some institutions getting in early for earnings. How did Facebook do in earnings? I don't want to get sidetracked, but I think Facebook actually did good. Hold up. I know Microsoft did horrible. I know AMD did really well. Yeah, Facebook had good earnings. You know, it's at 309 now. So I mean, you can invalidate this 2-hour supply. You can basically invalidate this 3-hour supply as well. We don't have supply all the way up to 312. So it might be a good play for tomorrow. But nonetheless, we started moving up on high volume, 1 confirmation, relative strength, 2 confirmations. And this is where I think I went wrong. So let me quickly highlight this 15-minute RBNR. So Facebook, as it was approaching high day, it had this 15-minute rally, base, rally. So on a 15-minute time frame, rally-based rallies are a lot stronger. So that's 3 confirmations. And ultimately, I was willing to take the break of 305, targeting around 306, which was 2 hour use supply, but ultimately a target here because this supply was used. I didn't know how strong it would be because it was used. But oh my god, sorry about that. But so I my plan was to take this over 305 right before high day to get in for the premium spike. And uh, where I think I went wrong is look what happened. This is a really specific detail, but look what happens as we approach 305. From 1250 or from 1235 to 1250. Look at what the volume is doing. It's decreasing. You don't want to see decreasing volume towards a breakout because that just indicates that buyers aren't really present. It shows that buyers are lacking. They aren't willing to pay the higher price. So um, I was cautious entering into this trade, and I did take Facebook above 305. Um, as soon as we pushed up the chart, it flashed. We immediately got bought right back down. Dylan talks about this in one of his videos. That's just indication of an aggressive seller. As soon as we came here, an aggressive seller got their sell orders placed and brought us back down immediately. So just knowing that I got in a little bit late and an aggressive seller right here and this caution factor of decreasing volume scared me a little bit. So I just got out at break even. I knew Facebook options were a little bit expensive because we had earnings couple hours away. So I didn't really follow risk to reward or stop loss. I just exited. Um, I don't think this was a good trade because yes, it did have three confirmations. Yes, ES and NQ were moving up, but ultimately we had decreasing volume towards a breakout. And I want to talk to Dylan a little bit. I want to talk to Dylan about this a little bit more, and I'll tell everybody who watches this video later what he says. But this is just a little bit confusing because you know this could have worked too. But regardless of the fact we did have decreasing volume, so I don't think this was a good trade. But yeah, those were my three trades. That's why Facebook is a little bit iffy. I think I can avoid this in the future. But the two trades on Baba were both very good. And you know, I didn't trade in 3 days, which is fine. You know, just take the highest quality setups, which is, I mean, how I think everyone should trade. But let's see what happens tomorrow. I think I'm exactly break even on the week. Uh, so yeah, let's just see what happens forward. And I mean, I know this video got way too long, so I mean, if you're watching all the way till the end, thank you. And yeah.